Welcome back to the Ask Pastor John podcast. We're going to end the week with a simple question, and often the best ones are. Pamela Kahn, a listener to the podcast, simply asks this: Pastor John, what is worship?
Let's start with the inner essence of worship and then work out to the more public expressions of worship services or daily acts of love, which Paul calls our spiritual worship. The reason I make the distinction between the inner essence of worship and the external expression of it is because I think Jesus did in Matthew 15:8. This people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. In vain do they worship me. So for Jesus, worship amounts to zero. That's what vain means. In vain they worship me. Zero. It's not worship. It's a zero worship. It's zero if there's no heart dimension to it. So you can do as many deeds as you want and go to as many church services as you want and never be worshiping if it's all external and nothing is happening in your heart toward God. So all true worship is in essence a matter of the heart. It's more, but it's not less. So then the question becomes, what is this inner, authentic, Godward experience of the heart that we call the essence of worship? And Jesus pointed us toward an answer in John 4:23 and 24 when he said, the hour is coming and is now here. He's here. When the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. For the Father is seeking such people to worship him. God is spirit. And those who worship him must worship in spirit and in truth. Now notice that worshiping in spirit is not contrasted with worshiping in the body or with the body. Instead, it's put alongside worshiping in truth. So what would that mean? That we are to be spirit worshipers, worshiping from the Spirit, and truth, driven by truth. Well, I think the point is that when we worship, right worship, good worship, pleasing worship, depends on a right mental grasp of the way God really is, truth. If we worship an idol of our own creation, we're not really worshiping God. And secondly, worship depends on a right spiritual or emotional or affectional heart grasp of God's supreme value. So true worship is based on a right understanding of God's nature